Good job, dude. Good job.
Well, Brian, 3 straight wins now, and the Boston win you described as a fight. The win 2 weeks ago was chaos in Charlotte. How would you best describe the win Friday night at Hopkins against Atlanta?
Probably an ugly win, but a win's a win, so we'll take it. We definitely came out slow, but we kind of chipped away at the lead and just started making some plays and kind of settled down a little bit. And I thought when we did that and we got possessions and we just got back and played 6-on-6, we did a great job defensively, and that kind of led us to a good offensive push.
You're obviously the primary voice for this team. Defensively, you have some vets with Brian Phibbs, Michael Evans, Joe Sanowski, but offensively, very young. In those moments, who have you seen emerge as somebody that's going to vocalize what it is you guys need to do?
Yeah, I mean, Matt Abbott's always been a great leader. He's a quiet guy, but when he talks, people listen. So he's been spending more time in offense, and he's been a real calming force for us on the offensive end. And Miles Jones is kind of stepping up as a leader as well. So Miles has got great energy, great charisma about him. So when he speaks up, people do listen.
As we continue this narrative of the game, you guys respond with your run to close out that first half. You go into the halftime with a lead. The second half had an odd feel to it. There was a lot of penalties. It got a little sloppy at times. How do you feel like your group managed those final 2 quarters?
Yeah, third quarter, I kind of looked up and I'm like, how are we not winning by 5 goals right now? Because I thought we really dominated the third quarter, but just didn't finish our shots. We got a ton of good looks, a lot of opportunities, but just didn't put the ball in the back of the net and allowed Atlanta to kind of stay in the game a little bit. And I think it was a 2-1, maybe a 1-goal advantage going into the fourth. But I like the way we were playing. We weren't doing anything wrong except for just not putting the ball in the back of the net. So fourth quarter came out and we did a much better job of just finishing our shots, but we continued to kind of dominate the flow of the game.
Nice look, Miles. Hey, look. There we go. Hey, CJ. That's your goal, baby. Great ground ball there. Good job.
Brian, so many storylines from this game, but I think the headliner has to be Sean Evans. And for the casual fan, you may know that he was a big-time indoor player, 2-time NLL MVP, but his last field game was 12 years ago as a freshman in college. I know you told us on the broadcast that his name was one of the available candidates to be drafted during the supplemental draft, and you spoke to him about coming to play for the Bayhawks, but I have to imagine that Friday night exceeded any expectations you had for his debut.
Sure. Obviously he's a talented player. His skill set of just being able to kind of, he's a point producer. Scores goals, gets assists, and that's what he did for us on Friday night. And just the kind of way he improved from every practice that he came to before the game was a good sign. I thought he was much better on Friday in our warm-ups than he was on Thursday night. Doing the same drills. But he's a smart player, so he'll figure it out. Plus, he's a winner. He makes all the winning plays when you need it.
What about personality-wise? Because you've had guys in the past, you think of John Grant Jr., now his field experience is much more extensive, but guys that are coming from Canada, he has a family, he was telling us on the broadcast, 3 kids. I mean, he is a true professional lacrosse player, he just hasn't played the field game in the MLL. How does that sort of help what you guys are building here in terms of that kind of voice and that kind of pro in your locker room?
Yeah, I mean, having a guy whose life is around lacrosse is really important because, he's in great shape. He's always working on his craft. It's important to him. Lacrosse is very important to him, and those type of players just they know how to win. They know how to get it done. You can always rely on them to be productive throughout the year.
And there seems to be a mentality. The grinder cliche at times is accurate because he'll be playing a box game Thursday night in Canada, fly in here, work out with you guys on a Friday, play Saturday, and then be out to another game on Sunday.
Yep. Those guys are used to that. That's the way they grew up, playing multiple games a week. And for our our American guys too in college, they all play multiple games a week too. So not that strange for them. They're used to it. And he's a pro, so he takes care of his body well. So not really worried about the grind with him.
Sorry. Shot clock, 5. Yeah, Robbie. Hey, Brian.
Now, the second storyline that to me was probably most impactful was Eric O'Brien at the Faceoff X. We've talked each week about how that's been a bit of an adventure, especially when Charlie Rafa went down for the season. He's a guy who hadn't played in a game all year. How was he able to come in so quickly and be that effective?
Yeah, we had Eric O'Brien a couple of years ago for a short time. He got injured, I think during his first game he played with us. So we lost him in the off season, but when his name was out there as being available, we took a flyer on him, and he came in great shape. He works really hard at his craft, and trains during the week really hard to be a better face-off guy. And he was hungry and looking to prove something, and he exceeded our expectations.
Now, look, it's a week-to-week league, and your GM, Dave Gottle, has some say in this as well, but do you feel like, because that's a wrinkle as we head into the draft this week, where face-off, in my mind, was a high priority for you guys as you looked at some of the collegiate available players. If Eric O'Brien's going to be that 50 to 60% guy, that priority gets bumped down. Sure.
So I think looking at the draft, going into the draft, you don't want to have a glaring hole to fill. Because I think when you have that, you kind of reach for a guy to fill a position. Whereas now we can just draft the best player available. So it doesn't have to be, I need a defenseman, I need a face-off guy, and maybe pick a guy too early that you might not pick in that spot. So now we're very comfortable, especially with Eric playing well, that we have kind of all of our bases covered. That now we can just draft the best lacrosse player out there.
Miles Jones, always a star-level player. His impact on the game, you can see it. I thought it was interesting Friday. They shut him off for most of that game, or at least tried to. When you have to make that adjustment on the fly, I'm sure you weren't surprised by it, but what did it force you to do, and maybe what was the good or negative outcome of it?
I thought we responded well. I thought maybe we took too much time trying to get Miles the ball when he was shut off. That maybe kind of killed our flow a little bit. But as we got into the game and guys kind of started playing off of his shut off, and he would set some picks and try to get some different matchups and different looks, it kind of opened him up later on in the game where he kind of got that goal, got the ball, and was able to dodge and do his thing.
Good job, Miles.
You've seen a lot of plays in this league over your years as a player and as a coach. How about that run from him where he ran over an all-star caliber player in Scott Ratliff as sort of an identifiable picture to that game and maybe him as a player?
Yeah, that's what he does. You can do everything right in guarding him, and he can still run you over and score. So, with his physical ability and his determination and his shooting, he's a tough guy to stop. You can slow him down, but you're probably not going to stop him for the whole game.
As we spin things forward, unique in the sense, another bye week, Memorial Day, a big weekend in the sport of lacrosse, and obviously for your family as well as the Maryland women head up to Foxborough. How do you think this group can best manage this time away to be even better when you get back together?
Just doing the little things that it takes to be successful. I think like talking to the guys, we know what we need to work on, right? So it's up to them now to kind of work on that, whether it be their their fitness and conditioning, whether it be their shooting and stick work. Those are all things that they can do on their own to come back better individually and make us a better team on June 2nd.
And fans are always curious, especially when they're marquee players like Lyle Thompson, Matt Danowski. Is it your expectation that when you guys take on Ohio after this bye week that you may be at full strength in terms of, or at least a full complement of players for you guys to choose that 19-man roster from?
Sure. Well, we know we're getting Matt Danowski back because his Duke season's over. Lyle's indoor team won the semifinals, so he'll be missing a few more weeks at the minimum. So, it's good that we don't have to rush those guys in. We don't have to force them in because we are playing well without them. But it's good to get talented players like them back on the field.
Good problem to have at 3-1. Brian, thanks for the time.
Thank you.